What's up, guys, and welcome back to another Coffee with Coach, brought to you by Steam CrossFit. I'm Coach Jordan, and today I'm going to be talking about one of our Steam CrossFit core values, that is grit. So I was recently challenged by one of my coaches, a business coach, to think about what my core values are at the gym. And I've done this, multiple times over the years, since long before I ever opened a gym. What are the things that are really important to me that I want to instill on anybody that I ever, train or coach or work with or am friends with, and it's easy for me to sit down and write paragraphs. It's easier for me to sit down and write paragraphs than it is for me to break those down into tiny pieces. So this challenge is great for me because it's forced me to get a little uncomfortable and pick 5 individual words that encompass what I feel are the core values that I want to instill upon you guys. Now, grit is a awesome word that encompasses a very broad topic, and I'm going to share in the comments some books and TED Talks and a few other things that I'm going to recommend to listen to additionally to this. But I think that grit is one of the most important things that we can develop as an individual, period, not just in the gym, but in our lives. So what is grit? Grit is the stamina to persevere through difficulty, and that's a very simplified definition of what it means, but I think it really touches on the main points that I want to talk about today. We all have had points in our lives where we've stepped up, but to be a gritty individual implies that if there is something that's difficult in between you and what you're trying to achieve, you are actively going to stand up and push through and persevere through that difficulty no matter what it takes. And really, grit is the defining line between people who achieve their goals and people who don't. It's easy to not be gritty. That's the whole point. So why do I think it's important from a gym perspective? Everyone in here has goals, and goals are not easy to achieve, right? If they were easy to achieve, most of you wouldn't be here, right? You'd do it all yourself, no problem. You don't need any assistance at all. So complacency is easy. It's easy to graduate from high school or college or grad school and get that job and, just coast forever. We have that luxury in our society in the times that we live in. It's easy to be complacent. We don't have to necessarily challenge ourselves to learn new skills. And frequently when it comes to health and fitness, many people never deal with it, or they don't deal with it until their doctor is in their face saying, look, you're gonna die because you haven't taken care of yourself. So it's easy to be complacent. Change is not easy. Change requires grit. If you know that you need to be healthier, you need to be more fit, you have to set a goal of getting into a gym and working towards being healthy and fit. And it's not something that goes away. So I think inherently, fitness and health are an embodiment of grit. If you don't have grit, you don't get to be healthy and fit. You have to show up forever. It's not a 3-month challenge or a 2-week challenge. Those are great things to get started, but we have to have grit to keep moving. So a really cool thing about grit is that it's a skill in itself. I said earlier, we've all had points in time in our lives where we've overcome something difficult. Everyone has. That's great, and that's awesome. I'm not trying to devalue it, but that's one thing. Are you consistently rising to the challenge of achieving difficult things? So, that is grit, and grit's a skill. It's something that you can actually improve individually. So when we actively pursue difficult things, we get better, and it makes it easier to pursue more difficult things. We actually get better at doing it. We get better at achieving goals. So from a fitness perspective, maybe the first goal was to lose 10 pounds, and maybe you need to lose 100. Well, when you prove to yourself and you build that grit, that you can, if you prove that you can lose that 10 pounds and you've already worked through that first part, you've earned something that's more than just losing that 10 pounds. You've built some grit. You're ready to start pushing for the next 10. And when you get to the end of that 100, think about how much grittier of a person you're going to be. But you need to continue to challenge that, right? So grit becomes part of who you are. What I think is so beautiful about grit, from everything I've been reading and learning about, it's like putting thoughts that have been in my head for forever onto paper, and that's really cool. So I've really enjoyed studying grit lately. I've been reading quite a few books on it, or things that are similar anyways. So grit is beautiful because it requires zero talent. We can all become more gritty with practice, so it's kind of an equal thing. If you're a human being, if you're alive, you have the capacity to become more gritty. And I put down below that an example of someone with huge talent but no grit will frequently get beaten by the person with minimal talent and great grit, or lots of grit. Someone that's very gritty is just going to outwork the person that's not, and it doesn't matter how talented they are. So it's something that we can all develop and all earn. I think that's a really beautiful thing. That's why I think it earns its spot in one of our 5 core values. So how do we build more grit? Part of getting gritty is not just randomly doing things that are difficult, although that's a cool thing to do as well. But if you really want to get gritty, part of that is actually seeing things through to fruition. So if you want to build more grit, pick a goal that you're passionate about, and that could be, I don't even have a pull-up yet, but I want to get a bar muscle up. Like set a really steep goal and devote yourself to doing something difficult to achieve it daily. That might not be smart to practice your muscle up every day, but there are other exercises that we do that indirectly carry into that muscle up. So maybe part of what is the difficult thing you can do daily is to show up to the gym and do the other workouts we need to do. And over time, if you're really exerting yourself and you're putting forth your best effort and you're developing that grit, you're going to chip your way through to that bar muscle up. Even if it takes you, 2-3 years, the process of building all of that up will make you a grittier person. In the best days to really develop grit are the days when you don't feel like doing it. The day you wake up and you're like, man, I've been going to the gym for 2-3 months. I don't have that bar muscle up yet. Work's been really hard. Family life is hard. Everything's weighing on me. The days that that's happening and you choose to go in anyways and put in the work, that is when you know that you're becoming a more gritty person. And those are also the days that you reinstill that belief that you can step up and do it. You've developed more grit. Now you're going to start believing in yourself more, and you'll be willing to take on more difficulty. None of this process means that you're not going to fail, right? Failure is a huge part of developing grit. If you were always winning and always succeeding at everything all the time, you wouldn't be gritty, right? Again, it's that ability to persevere through difficulty, and failure and how you handle failure is difficulty, right? So I think that grit definitely is one of the top 5 words. I think of anything else, it's the one I'm the most sure of so far in my personal challenge to find 5 words to encompass what our values as a gym are and what we're trying to instill in our members. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, I'll be posting some links to TED Talks and books if you'd like to learn more about grit. I think it's a really cool topic. I don't think there's anything you can't apply it to. So yeah, I'll put those in the comments below. Anyways, thank you for listening. As usual, Coffee with Coach is brought to you by Wired Coffee Bar in Ottawa, Tennessee. Go check them out. I'm drinking their French press right now. Yeah, talk to you guys soon. Bye.